What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Sorry it's been a couple of weeks since I've been able to upload. Things have been super crazy with work, been doing some travel. Also give you guys an update on that weight loss that I'm working on right now. So guys, I was out here working on this 57 Chevy that's right behind you right here, and I was installing a full new harness in this thing. Of course that takes some crimping and some soldering and some other things. And I have learned the hard way many times on how to properly solder and how to do it the wrong way, because there's nothing worse than putting something in and something pulling apart, or using those cheap butt connectors and pulling those apart. So guys, what we're going to do today is I've got a good buddy of mine that I'm going to be installing this radio for him very soon, here in just a couple of weeks. I already have the harness kit and all that, so it'll be a perfect opportunity to kind of discuss some of the differences on how you install one of these radios in a Fox body. And of course this is going to be installed in my radio HVAC relocation kit, but I'm going to go ahead and do some pre-work before going there, because it's a lot easier to go ahead and put all this together when you can work on the table versus trying to get it in the car and then do it there. So as much work as you can do on the table makes your job a lot easier when you go to do that radio installation in your car. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Alright guys, so I got some of my tools together. Now I specifically bought one of those cheap, I've never used this before, I just turned it on, one of these cheap Harbor Freight soldering irons. I figured I would use this since this is mostly what a lot of folks will use, and for these smaller gauge wires, these things are fine. Now normally, you can look over here, this is my Wheeler, it's 3 times the power that one of those are, and this is usually what I would use, but for the sake of this video, we're going to leave this in the box. And we're going to try out this Harbor Freight soldering iron that, I don't know, I paid 10 bucks for, maybe? It might have been 5, I don't know. Of course, I've got my wire strippers, I got my cutters. This is the Metra kit, and I'll put a link for this in the description. I bought this from Crutchfield. You can also buy these from Amazon. Now, the only thing that I don't have here is, I think there's one other piece that you can buy in a different kit that is, has the premium sound amplifier bypass. Now what this kit right here does is, of course, it has your power harness, but then it comes with 2 different speaker harnesses. This speaker harness is actually if you do have the factory amplifier. Now on all your 87 to 92 cars, this would be right behind the factory radio location right there on the tunnel. On your 93 cars only, I'm pretty sure this is right under the passenger seat if your car had premium sound. Now I know for the sake of this video, my buddy that I'm putting this in for his Fox body, he checked for me, and it does not have premium sound. There is no amplifier behind there, so we will be using this one and will not use this one to wire to our harness for this Pioneer head unit for our speakers and our power harness. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to get started, and we're going to get this out. Now the unit I'm going to be putting in for my buddy is a DMH 160 Bluetooth. I do love this head unit. I picked it out for him. It actually has your Android Auto and also Apple CarPlay. That is something that for me is a must, since you can just plug your phone direct into these and then get all of, basically it mirrors your phone. That way you get all the functionality, your GPS, all that stuff right there on the screen. Also, this one here is a little bit of a shallower head unit than some of them, so it's going to be a little lighter. It's a non-mechanized. That means there is no internal CD drives or anything like that. It's just basically an amplified head unit. Alright, we'll kind of get some of these accessories and stuff out of the way. We're not going to be needing any of that just yet, because it also has the Sirius XM. Not going to need any of that right now. I stuck the receipt in there for him. I'm going to need that. Don't need that yet, but we do need this. So this is going to be our power and speaker harness that we're going to attach to this Metra kit. So like I said, guys, we're not going to need this plug because this would be used if the car had premium sound with the factory amplifier. So we don't need this, but we're going to need these two. Of course, the power harness is the same. Then you got our speaker harness. So guys, what I like to do is go ahead and start with the one that has the most wires on it, and that's going to be all of the speaker wires. I'm going to kind of get all these other wires out of the way, and then we'll do the power wires here in just a minute, which is basically just going to be your ignition, your all the time on, and then of course the ground. And then of course we'll have these, but we won't connect that right now. So I'll get my speaker wires ready to go ahead and strip those. Now when I strip, actually I like to strip a little longer than typical, and I'll show you why here in just a minute. Now these are usually going to be like your 18 gauge. I like to come back a little bit further, and we'll go ahead and do the purple ones first. And I like to get just enough wire on there to where I can make a loop. So let's go ahead and get our Metra kit. Now they already pre-sliced these, but I'm going to go ahead and go just a little further. This is a little heavier gauge wire. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a 14. There we go. We'll go ahead and splice that. We'll go ahead and get those stripped. I don't have my glasses on, but I'm pretty sure that's the negative. And we got the black and the purple there. So I'll go ahead and twist both these up. Now what you'll see a lot of guys do, and there's nothing wrong with it, it's just this is my preferred method because it tends to be a little bit better when you do it like this. So if you take and you curl this over and you curl this one over, you basically make a loop on both ends. See what I'm doing there, guys? So I got a loop here, and then I will go ahead and twist that one around and twist this one around too. So already you got then just twisting them in, like, you got a lot stronger connection, plus it's not nearly as bulky. Now of course here I am doing the video and I forgot to do one important thing, and there's nothing more frustrating than doing this and you get to this point. At least I didn't solder it, so I need to undo this, because what did I forget, guys? It's something that you really should do. You see a lot of cars that have electrical tape on it, and I'm not saying electrical tape's wrong, but over time electrical tape just starts coming apart. It's slimy, it gets greasy when it's hot, and it doesn't last. So let me take this back apart, and we'll see, normally you just be able to pull, if you just twisty tied that, you'd just be able to pull that apart. I cannot pull that apart without probably damaging the wires. One important part that I forgot, guys, I love to use heat shrink. It is by far going to be your best insulator, and it's going to be a lot cleaner of an install. Don't forget to go ahead and slide that on your wires. You can do all of them when you get started. As a matter of fact, that's probably one I'm going to go ahead and do so I don't forget another one. And we'll go ahead and just get all of these slid on here so I don't forget. Alright, so all that's done, so let's start over again. Like I said, guys, I'll take this, basically kind of make a J with it. Take this other one, do the same thing. We'll go ahead and get both of those together just like that. Nice. See how good that looks, guys? And it's on there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use my third hand here. Another one of my favorite little tools that cost about $5 from Harbor Freight. Put this in here. How to keep that good and tight. We're going to go ahead and get our solder ready. I will usually just dip this into a little bit of soldering paste if needed, but it's not 100% necessary. Now what I like to do, guys, is make sure these wires aren't blocking your view, is we'll go ahead and get just a little bit of solder right here on our tip. And you're wanting to heat the wire up. You see a lot of guys will go in here and they'll try to basically get the solder to flow off of here and onto the wire. That typically all that ends up doing is making a huge mess. You want the solder to flow into all of the crevices of the wire. So what you want to do is get your iron right under here, let it rest, get it hot enough, and once it gets hot enough, your solder will just melt into the wire. You can do it on top some. Now normally if I was using the 3000 watt one, it would go a little quicker.
Eventually.
Here we go. See, now it's starting to melt in there. It just takes a little longer with this smaller soldering iron. Here we go. And that's clean, guys. So look at that. See how clean that is, guys? And you got solder all the way through the joint. That is not coming apart. You'd break the wire before you'd pull that joint apart. Now we'll go ahead, slide our heat shrink right over that. Let me plug up my... I could have just left it in there, but for the sake, we'll go ahead and get that. Nice. So that's a much better way of doing it. I know a lot of guys will just take and do butt connectors, but guys, I'm going to tell you, you start pulling these wires in there, you get a big clump of wires back there, and the next thing you know is that you've accidentally pulled one out because you didn't have it crimped good in the butt connector. This is by far the best method, and doing a little work like this on the table, getting it ready for when you go do the install, it'll save you a ton of time. So I'm going to go ahead and get back to getting all this put together, and I'll catch back up with you here in a minute. So guys, I thought this would be kind of funny, and so I stopped the video. I was getting ready to kind of set up the time lapse, so I'd go ahead and finish everything up. But I got a notification. I got my iPad sitting right over here, and well, I got to watch my boy on YouTube, so I'm going to watch him while I'm doing this work, just like you guys do a lot of times. Alright guys, so there it is. Now most of these I will go ahead and tidy up, cut those off. We're not going to use, I don't think, any of this. I'll just double check before I tidy those up. That's the reverse sensing wire, which that would only be used if we're putting a backup camera on the car, and I'm fairly certain that car is not going to have a backup camera on it. Now if there is a remote amplifier, that would be this one, which I'm pretty sure that doesn't have it, and I'll tidy those up. But what I like to go ahead and do, and I'll go ahead and even bring this parking brake wire down, and instead of using electrical tape, I like to go ahead and get this wrapped up with some wire loom. So you can either use your wrap type tape or actual loom itself. I'll go ahead and use the wrap type tape. I've got some somewhere here. Now, since I know, I'm almost 90% certain we are not going to need any of those. So I'll just cut those off, and I will wrap those up right in there. I'm going to leave that Y in there to give me some flexibility on those factory radio harness connections. Alright boys, there she is. That's going to be more of a professional style job. That's going to get you a job that you're not going to have to worry about. Give you proper solder joints, heat shrink. It's good to go. So I got a lot of work done already before I'll ever go to my buddy's place to put that radio in. And guess what? I'm going to take you guys along for the ride, because that's going to be a pretty special car when we go put this thing in. I can't wait to show you guys that video. So guys, that's all of that for this video. I'm going to get over here and I'll show you where I'm at with the weight loss. But for now, all the car content, that stuff's gone. I'll see you on the next one. Now let's go over here and talk about this weight. Alright guys, as most of you who are watching this has been along with this ride for me since I've started. Now I'm still making progress guys, but I want to be totally transparent, and that's also why I'm doing these videos, so I can be transparent and be accountable to you guys. That's going to help me be accountable to myself. So guys, I'm not making excuses. We all sometimes fail, and I did fail for a couple weeks. I didn't really go crazy or anything, but I did cheat, and a lot of that was due to just being busy, and I had to travel for work, and I just fell off the wagon. And I didn't do bad, but I didn't lose any weight. My weight stayed stagnant. So here's my updates now where I'm at today. So I've started back again this week. The last 2 weeks not so good, but I started back again this week. But I'm also this week, so I'm back on my keto, and I know that'll take a few days for that to kick in, but I'm also doing the elliptical, and I'm also got some workout equipment inside, and I'm doing that coupled with it so I can really fast track and be back a little bit better again on my weight loss. So we're still on track to get to my 50-pound goal by Ford Takeover. We're still on track, because that's basically 2.5 pounds a week. So we're still good there, but we don't need to slack, and we need to get back after it, because heck, if I could beat that goal, that would be awesome. So here's where I was at today when I weighed. Today's 215. I was at I can't write like this. I was at 289. So I guess for cheating for a couple of weeks, and I mean, when I say cheat, I mean I just didn't eat what I should have, but I didn't go nuts. And so that would be a -1. I went ahead and did log these from a previous week. I actually gained a pound, stayed the same that week. So basically we are we're just down 17 pounds total. So, I mean, 17 pounds, that's still okay. I mean, I would rather it be better right now, but, it is what it is. And I'm just being honest with you guys. I want to tell you my struggles, because I'm sure you guys go through struggles as well when you're trying to do weight loss. I guess the most important thing is, if you do it and you fail, that doesn't mean you failed. That just means you got to do it again. You got to start over again, and it's okay to start over again. Guys, I can tell you this. So weight loss, just like, food is like any addiction. And a lot of you guys don't know this about me. I was a 2-pack-a-day smoker up till about 18 years ago. And I remember that was probably one of the hardest things in my life I've ever done, was to successfully quit smoking. And I remember it was always psychological, because every time that you try to quit and you failed, the next time became more difficult, because that psychological issue embedded in you that says, well, you're just going to fail. And you got the little devil on your shoulder saying, you're going to fail, Michael, you're going to fail. That's my Mustang clock up there honking. So what I'm getting at, guys, is you can still fail many times and then end up succeeding. Because I'll never forget the last time that I decided to quit smoking, and that's how I felt this time when I tried to start losing weight again, was that I felt, and it scared me to death, that I felt like if I didn't succeed that time, that I was never going to quit smoking. And that really scared me. And that's almost kind of how I feel about this weight loss right now, is if I don't succeed this time, it's like I'm never going to do it. And that's sometimes you got to kind of scare yourself. And I'm not saying I won't fail again, but what I'm saying is that I've really got to get an internal drive to scare myself into being successful at this weight loss. So guys, I really appreciate all the support, all the comments being a lot, messages on Instagram, all that. It's huge. Sometimes I can't respond to all of them, but guys, I'm going to tell you, I see all of them, and it means a lot. Until now, so guys, hopefully next week I'll be back on track, start picking up some weight, and really in 2 weeks would be the big difference because I'll be truly back into ketosis. But until then, guys, I'll see you on the next video next week, and I'll see you then.